We're about to get started. All right, shalom, everyone. All right, I know we're excited, and also I know we're very sad because the feast has ended, but we have a double blessing in that the feast went right into a Shabbat, so we're really excited about that. So today is like one of my favorite parts of all of our events. This is the day when we get to hear about and hear from the children from the children's program. And so it's one of the most exciting times. We're all excited about that. Okay, so the way the program is going to work is that we're going to have Rebbetzin come up. She's going to talk to you guys about all the things that are going on with the program. You're going to get to see the things that everybody did during the program, and you're going to get to hear from the children singing their songs. It's fantastic, and we'll really enjoy that. And then and the different teachers will be coming up to make their presentation. So let me go ahead and introduce the director of the YMTOI program, my wife, Rebbetzin Julie.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pesach 2022 YMTOI presentation. We're glad you can join us today in the crowd and on live stream. YMTOI's mandate is found in Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way they shall go, and when they are old, they shall not depart from it. So we take that mandate very seriously here at MTOI and YMTOI, and that is why we put a lot of work and prayerful thought into all the themes that we create for the feast lessons for the YMTOI program. And we hope that you will see just how much your children are gleaning this week from all the lessons that they had catered to their levels. The theme of the feast this year was Proverbs. Proverbs has a lot of good nuggets in it, and the children dug into the word at their level to glean those nuggets from the Proverbs. Each class was taught at their level. Katan A, which are ages 5 to 8, had story time. And the story time, they had characters that the teachers would put up on the board so that they could have visuals to go with the word that they were learning. In those stories, they also related to verses from the Proverbs. And our Katan A teacher, Maura Shannon, will go into that later. Katan Bet was also given a lesson at their level, and the lesson was actually a 32-page document that went into specific verses that pertain to advice, insight, wisdom, discipline, and lots of other good stuff for children. And they spent all week digging into those lessons. We learned about a foolish child versus a wise child, a hardworking child, a child who listens, a child who doesn't listen, what happens to them. And they had fun along the way with games and object lessons and even snacks. And also, to enhance the lesson, our own Shira Wendling wrote some beautiful songs to go with the Katan Aleph and Katan Bet classes. So we thank you, Shira, for that. And to capture those really crazy, cool, and fun moments that your children did this week, we had 2 photographers, one of them being me, and Carrie Yanuzzi. If you can stand up, thank you. You'll get to see those pictures in our slideshows. We also had, as I said, enhanced the lessons with snacks that went with the lessons, and our team was Miss Linda DeHaven, please stand up, and her team, Michelle Bidwell, stand up, and Delia Crumbaker. Delia's over on that side. Thank you so much for the yummy snacks. And they always saved B1, so I got to partake. Our teachers this year, for Gadol, we had a special presenter, Rabbi Steve. And I heard the Gadol had a lot of fun. And he had a great support system this year of previous Gadol teachers. He had Morey Wayne Brown, Morey Michael Long, Shamish Gary Flint, and Philip Mason, along with some special guest appearances by Elder Billy Jackson, Mr. Shane Bidwell, and Grayson Gardner. So thank you. It was a great team. I want to thank my Katan Bet teacher, Maura Sarah Beth Mason. Please stand up. Jessica Rivera, her main helper, and our craft lady, Selena Stevenson. Now I'd like to thank my Katan Olive team, Maura Shannon Langton, the main teacher, and her main helper, Chris Ann Mergel, Jeff Morley, and Robin Shepard. Thank you so much. We also had a lot of fun in the afternoons with the YMTOI activities team. Our team supervisors were Shamish Bob Shepard and Shamish Gary Flint. Our class leaders for Katan A, the yellow team, was Anthony Ward. Please stand up. Sam Davidson, Jonathan Troyer. Katan Bet helpers for the red team was Grayson Gardner, Benjamin Troyer, and Ben White. Please stand up. Thank you so much. Our Gadol Olive for the blue team was Zach Gwen, Philip Mason, and Jeremy Troyer. Hello. And our Gadol Bet team was Mr. and Mrs. Neal, Joseph and Alexa Neal, the white team. And Ben Callender. Okay. I also want to thank the medical team. It seemed we needed them a little bit this year, so it was good that we had them. And in charge of that was Brandy. Okay, what's your last name? What is it? Ivanov. She just got married. I want you to stand up if you were a class helper this week in Katan Aleph or Katan Bet. Please stand up. Any parent or anybody who helped during a class time. Thank you so much for serving. I also want to thank all my Bet Shalom ladies who prepped all the crafts and the notebook pages. We had about 5 to 6 hours of fun with a little bit of dancing in between, so stand up, Bet Shalom ladies. I want to thank Selena Stevenson for creating the notebook pages, and for my artists, if you're watching, Ms. Vera Linton for your artistry, and we'll show that in a little bit. And last but not least, I want to thank my husband, Rabbi Steve Berkson, for his support and for his encouragement in all that is done through the YMTOI program. Thank you for your leadership. Okay. Without further ado, now it's time to introduce the program. The first thing we're going to show you is the snacks that your children had during this week. So I'm going to bring up Ms. Linda DeHaven, and she will present the snack presentation.
Okay, just a quick reminder, if you're on the kitchen staff, we need you to go over there around 11. Okay, 11 o'clock for those that are volunteering today for the kitchen. We need you over there at about 11, about 45 minutes.
Okay. All right, okay. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It was a pleasure to help with the snacks for the children, and I appreciate all of you being here so that I had that opportunity. We have our team. My helpers were Michelle Bidwell and Delia Crumbaker, and they've done this before. This was my first time, so they were a great help. As Rebbetzin said, some of the things were related to what everyone has been learning in Proverbs. But we'll start in 1 Kings 3:9. Oh, understanding heart.
Change the slide.
Oh, next slide, please. Not used to the slides. Okay, 1 Kings 3 and verse 9. Shall you then give to your servant an understanding heart to rule your people, to discern between good and evil? For who is able to rule this great people of yours? And the word was good in the eyes of Yahweh that Shlomo had asked this. So Elohim said to him, because you have asked this and have not asked long life for yourself, nor have asked riches for yourself, nor have asked the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself discernment and understanding, right ruling. See, I shall do according to your words. See, I shall give you a wise and understanding heart, so that there is none like you before you, none before you, and none like you shall be after you. And the snacks for the day matched Proverbs 2:6. For Yahweh gives wisdom, out of his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. And Proverbs 3:13 through 14. Blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and man who gets understanding. For the gain from it is better than gain from silver, and its increase than fine gold. And the snacks were hearts carved from cheese and strawberries. Next slide, please. The next title is Wise Owl, and that'll be the Queen of Sheba's visit. And that comes from 1 Kings 10, 1 through 13. And the sovereigness of Sheba heard the report of Shlomo concerning the name of Yahweh and came to try him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with very great company, with camels that bore spices, very much gold, and precious stones. She came to Shlomo, and she spoke with him about all that was in her heart. And Shlomo answered all her questions. There was no matter hidden from the sovereign that he did not make known to her. And the sovereignness of Sheba saw the wisdom of Solomon, and the house that he had built, and the food on his table, and the seating of the servants, and the service of his waiters and their attire, and the cupbearers and his ascending offerings which he offered in the house of Yahweh, and there was no more spirit for her. Then she said to the sovereign, the word I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom, it was true. But I did not believe the words until I came and saw with my own eyes. And see, I have not been told the half. Your wisdom and prosperity exceed the report which I heard. Blessed are your men, and blessed are your servants, who stand continually before you, who are hearing your wisdom. And for that, we made wise owls. And Proverbs 8:11 says, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all the delights are not comparable to her. And Proverbs 16:16, how much better it is to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding is preferable to silver. So we made little wise owls. We started with a rice cake, which we spread peanut butter, and we added some apples for wings, and some eyes or bananas and blueberries, and we used little Cheerios to make the breast of the owl. Next slide, please. And next is the fiery furnace in Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And that is in Daniel 3. And the image of gold, and we're going to read verse 18 and verse 20. But if not, let it be known to you, O sovereign, that we do not serve your Elohim, nor do we do obeisance to the gold image which you have set up. And verse 20, and he commanded some of the strongest men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the burning furnace of fire. And the snack was a rice cake again, and we have the three little blueberries representing the men, and the fire does not burn them. The fire is actually cream cheese that has been colored. And our verses in Proverbs are Proverbs 3:5, trust in Yahweh with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. Proverbs 14:26, in the fear of Yahweh is strong trust, and his children have a place of refuge. Next slide. And next we have lion for Daniel in the lion's den. And that comes from Daniel 6, and I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but as you remember, the sovereign Darius appointed viceroys, of which Daniel was one, and he excelled above all the others, which made them jealous. So they schemed to have Daniel destroyed in the lion's den, but Yahweh delivered him. And Daniel was steadfast in worshiping Yahweh only. So for our lions, on the right, we had one large plate with hummus, which had a little chocolate in it, and we had peppers, and we had bananas for ears, and bananas for eyes with a blueberry, and they could share that one. And then they each got an individual one, which had a little slice of orange for the face, and a couple of blueberries for eyes, and bananas for ears, and Kix cereal for the mane. I'm sure they enjoyed that one. And the Proverbs for that one is Proverbs 19:5. A false witness does not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies does not escape. Proverbs 12:22. Lying lips are an abomination to Yahweh, but those who deal truly are his delight. Next slide, please. And for our last snack, it's ants on a log. And it's the wise builder of Matthew. Matthew 7:24 through 29. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and does them shall be like a wise man who built his house on a rock. And the rain came down, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and they beat the house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them shall be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain came down, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and they beat on that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. And it came to be, when Yahweh had ended these words, that the people were astonished at his teaching. Yeshua had ended these words. The people were astonished at his teaching, for he was teaching them as one possessing authority and not as the scribes. So we have our little ants, and the proverbs that relate to that are Proverbs 6:6. Go to the ant, you lazy one. See her ways and be wise. Proverbs 10:5. He who gathers in summer is a wise son. He who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame. And our little ants are on a log, and we did a savory one and a sweet one. And for the sweet one, we had a banana slice with peanut butter on it and some raisins for the little ants, for the diligent ants. And then for the savory one, we did a slice of celery, and it had some hummus in it. No, that one was cream cheese. I'm sorry, I forgot which one there. That one was cream cheese with a touch of chocolate in it, just so it'd be colored like a log. And we used olives for the little diligent ants. Next slide, please. Oh, and this is our group.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful presentation. Makes me want to have snacks all over again. Okay, now we're going to move over to our next group, the Katan Aleph teachers, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up Maura Shannon and her team.
Yep, that's good. All right. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Well, my name is Mara Shannon, and it was a pleasure teaching Katane this Pesach 2022. And I had just a great time teaching them about Proverbs, me and my team. So we taught about Proverbs, wise sayings that teach you about your relationship with Yahweh and with other people. And in class 1, I read to them straight from Scripture about King Solomon and the 3 things he asked for, things that he wanted so he could rightly rule the people. And that was wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And I read about the 3 things that Yahweh gave him. Like he gave him the 3 things he asked for, but he also gave him 3 other things as an extra, which was on life, wealth, and esteem. And those were the things that he gave to King Shlomo as a bonus for a selfless prayer. And I asked the kids, what exactly is wisdom? And one of our Katani students gave an outstanding answer. His name is Joan Henry. He's not up here with us, sadly, but I had to share this because his answer was right on. He said, wisdom is where you know how to do it right and not do it wrong. I was like, whoa, how old are you? I thought that was great. So the craft that we did for this class was a hand card, and on one side are the pictures of the three things King Shlomo asked for: wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And on the other side of the hand are the three things that Yahweh gave to him as a bonus, which is long life, esteem, and wealth. And I want to give us thanks to Chrisanne for being my wonderful craft lady, for helping the kids with their crafts. She did an amazing job. Thank you so much, Chrisanne Mergel. So that was class 1. Now we're going to share the memory verses that came along with this class. So, Dax, stand up. All right, Dax, what's your memory verse?
Proverbs 1:7. And the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline.
Thank you, Dax. All right. Alex and Liam, stand up. All right, Alex. All right, Liam. What is your memory verse?
Proverbs 2:6. For Yahweh gives wisdom, out of his mouth comes knowledge and understanding.
Thank you. All right. All right, Alex. What's the next memory verse?
Proverbs 9:10. Not Yahweh. Yeah, the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the set apart one is understanding.
Thank you, Alex. All right. Now, on to class 2. Class 2, we read about the Queen of Sheba. I actually had Miss Robin play the Queen of Sheba. She had a crown on her head, and she played Queen of Sheba, reading her story about her visit with King Solomon. And great thanks to her. She did a great job with that. Thank you, Miss Robin, for all your help. But we read about the Queen of Sheba testing King Solomon about his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, asking him all difficult questions and blown away by how he just answered them spot on. And as gifts, one of the gifts that she brought to King Shlomo was very expensive spices. And we actually had a spice rotation set up for the kids to walk around and look at. We had frankincense and myrrh oil to smell, and some cinnamon to smell, and some sugar to taste a little bit of it and touch it, and some aloe to put a little bit on their hands. And they really, really had fun with that. And the craft that we did with this class was the Queen of Sheba's camels carrying her gifts to King Shlomo. So we have the spices and also the jewels and the gold. You see the saddles opening up and revealing them? Right. All right. And these are the verses that went along with class 2. So Max and Talia, stand up. Okay. All right, Max, what is your memory verse?
Proverbs 3:13 through 14. Blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and the man who gets understanding. For the gain of it is better than the gain of silver, and its increase than fine gold.
Thank you, Max. All right. Agnes and Ariel, stand up. All right, Agnes. All right, Ariel, what is your memory verse?
Proverbs 8:11. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all delights are not comparable to her.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Agnes. All right, Sahara, stand up. All right, Sahara, what's your memory verse?
Proverbs 16:16. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding is preferable to silver.
Thank you, Sahara. All right. Class 4. So this is where we got into the stories where we used characters and props on the board, like what Rebbetzin mentioned earlier. So for the fiery, well, whoops, hold on a second. I skipped. We're on class 3. That's my bad. Okay, so class 3, we read about Daniel and his friends show Yah's wisdom. So we have young Daniel and his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's what we used on the board. Yeah, we had a great time with these stories. I had my helpers play the voices, and I was like the narrator. It was like a play. It was so exciting. So we read about, so the biggest thing that we taught about this story was the importance of reputation. And I actually asked my class, what is reputation? And Max, he gave a really good answer. He said, it's how you represent something. So I thought that needed to be mentioned. Good job, Max. And so the story you read about Daniel and his friends is how they showed wisdom by not eating the king's unclean food. They asked to eat only vegetables and drink water for 10 days, and they were healthier than the other servants. Their obedience to Yahweh granted them the ability to have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and serve the king. And the craft that went along with this class, we did a basket bag with the vegetables and the water they drank for 10 days. So we had the vegetables and the water. Yeah, they had a lot of vegetables in that bag. Oh, that's one way to teach your kids, eat your vegetables. They're good for you. Just read the story and it's proof, okay? Okay. All right. And our next verses that for class 3, we're going to share. Max and Lewis, stand up. All right, Max. All right, Lewis, what is your memory verse?
Proverbs 20:11. Even a child is known by his deeds, whether his work is clear and right.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Lewis. Gabriel and Rachel, stand up.
Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child. Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he's old, he turns not away from it.
Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Rachel. Awesome. All right, now we're on to class 4. Okay, class 4, we did the story of the fiery furnace, and we had these props that we used. We had the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar built. In the story, we called him King Nebi for short, because Nebuchadnezzar is kind of hard to say. So we'll just call him King Nebi, and we thought it was cute. So there's the statue, and we had and of course we had Daniel's 3 friends again, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And the biggest thing we taught from this was trusting in Yahweh. And Daniel's 3 friends represented that perfectly. They feared and trusted Yahweh. They were not afraid to even die in the fiery furnace. They had confidence in the outcome of the situation. And I asked a question. I asked, so because along with this story, we read about how he is our refuge. And it's in the memory verse that's going to be shared with in a second. I asked, what is refuge? And little Alice Castor, she gave a really good answer. She said, a refuge is a place of safety. It's my home. I just wanted to mention that. Good job, Alice. And then the activity we did along with this class was the game of statues. I would play the music and the kids would dance all free-nilly, but once I stopped the music, they had to pause and be still like statues. And then I would ask them, do we pray to statues? And then they would say, no, we pray to Yahweh. And we had such a fun time with that. And the craft we did for this class was, of course, the fiery furnace. We have Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and the messenger that was with them. All right, and then now we're going to share our verses from class 4. Levi and Emma, stand up. All right, Levi. All right, Emma, what is your memory verse?
Proverbs 3:5. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding.
Thank you, Levi. Thank you, Emma. Good job. All right, Hunter and Alice Kay, stand up.
You're not in the right place. You're supposed to be able to stand up. Okay.
All right, Alice. All right, Hunter. What is your memory verse?
Proverbs 14:26. And the fear of Yahweh is strong trust, and his children have a place of refuge.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Hunter. Okay. So, in class 5, we read about King Nebi's pride taken away. We went over the word pride, which is thinking of yourself, being haughty, bragging about yourself, boastful, speaking or acting with pride, and humble, speaking or acting in a modest way about your accomplishments. And of course, we read the story about King Nebi when he was forced to leave the kingdom and be an animal for 7 years. And I also want to give thanks to Mr. Jeff Morley. He played a really great voice of King Nebi. It just gave me chills as he was reading it. Thank you, Jeff, so much. And of course we had props. There's King Nebi. Yep, that was one of the props we used. And we did an activity, boastful or humble. I read children some scenarios and asked them, was this person being boastful and humble? And these kids, they were like right on it. They immediately understood. He was being boastful. He was being humble. And they just were understanding. Even some of the 5-year-olds were answering right. I was like really impressed. So, good job. Okay. And the craft we did was, of course, of King Nebi as an animal / crazy hair man with his long nails and eating grass and with the branches beneath him. That was a really fun craft. All right. So now we're going to share the verses from class 5. Gabe Brown, stand up. All right, Gabe, what's your memory verse?
Proverbs 16:18. Before destruction comes pride, before fall a haughty spirit.
Thank you, Gabe. All right. Alice D. and Leah, stand up. All right, Alice. All right, Leah. What's your memory verse?
Proverbs 12:14. There's a way that seems right to a man, but it ends in the way of death.
All right, thank you. Woo-hoo. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Alice. All right, class 6. We read the story about Daniel in the lion's den, and one of the props we have King Daniel older and a prince to King Darius. Now, the biggest thing we taught from here is about lying and truth. We talked about how lying lips are an abomination, but those who deal truly are his delight. And we read about how Daniel stayed true to Yahweh despite the new rule King Darius enforced about praying. And in the story, we had this cute little rhyme I had the kids say with me. Just like always, 3 times a day, Daniel knelt by his window, and there he prayed. I was going to sing that along with them. And we also talked about the 2 princes. I always feel like I'm saying princesses, but it's princes. Okay. the two princes who persuaded the king to enforce the law just so they can harm Daniel because he was like the most favorite prince in them, and they're being babies to my opinion. Okay, so our craft we did for this lesson was, well, on this side we have the lined lips, and you open up the lips, Miss Chrisanne. We have pictures from Scripture, which are illustrated by Vera. We have that represent lying. We have Yosef and King Potiphar's wife. We have Hasatan as the serpent. And we have, of course, Daniel praying and the princess spying on him, wanting to tattletale on him and all that. But there's more. If we flip it around, we also have truthful lips. You see the truth written on the lips. And then open it up. And we have pictures that represent truth. We have two men reading the Torah. In the middle, we have the priest dressed up according to Torah. And then we have the third picture. We have Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego getting ready to be thrown in the fiery furnace because of their fear of Yahweh. That was the craft. All right. All right. Now we're going to share the verses from class 6. Constantine, stand up. All right, Constantine, what's your memory verse?
Proverbs 12:22. And thine lips are abomination to Yahweh, but those who deal with it truly are his delight.
Thank you, Constantine. Hey, Sahara, stand up. All right, Sahara, what's your memory verse?
Proverbs 19:5. A false witness does not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies does not escape.
Thank you, Sahara. All right. Class 7. Class 7, we actually had 2 stories. We read about the wise builder, which is a parable that Yeshua shared about two builders, one wise, one foolish. And then the second story, we read the Red Hen and the Passover for Matzah. If you heard the classic children's book about the Red Hen and the bread, well, they have a version of the Matzah of Passover. And now, from these 2 stories, we read about the opposite of being wise, which is foolish. And I asked, what does it mean to be foolish? And Alice D., she answered, doing something silly. And Kevin answered, doing something dumb. I thought that was right on. And I asked them, what does it mean to be lazy? And a bunch of kids, they're like not helping, just being on the couch playing your games and not helping your parents. And Kevin, he did a good addition. Kevin, one of my students, he gave another good example. He said, like, if you want something, if you really want something, but you're not even helping your parents earn that money to get those things, then you shouldn't have them because you didn't work for them. They did. I thought that was great. This little boy just gave this great example. And then we talked about shame, and I asked, what is shame? And Max said, it's bad reputation. This was the same boy that answered when I asked what was reputation. He said, it's how you represent it. And when I talked about shame, he's like, that's bad reputation. This is from the same boy. Oh, good job. And there was another answer that really gave a good addition. Little Alice K., she answered, because when I asked about shame, she answered, it's being disobedient. That was her answer, and I thought that was good. And so the craft we did, along with this class, was the ants. We had to make either a black one or a red one, and we have the verse in the black one's mouth. The red one had one too, but that one just doesn't have it. And it's colored green to make it look like he's carrying a leaf, but with the verse on it, and which is a verse that one of our students a couple of our students are going to share in a second. And we made this craft to teach them about how we should have the reputation like the ant, how it's always working. And we're going to share that. So, Eli and Aaron, stand up. All right, Eli. All right, Aaron, what's your memory verse?
Proverbs 6:6. Go to the ant, you lazy one. See her ways and be wise.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Aaron. Now, Kevin, stand up. All right, Kevin. What's the last memory verse?
Proverbs 10:5. He who gathers in summer is a wise son. He who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. Oh, yes. And just so you know, the kids, they memorized their verses. They didn't have any prompts to memorize them. They memorized their verses. They've been working on it all week, and I'm just so proud of them. So give them a round of applause. I enjoyed hearing all of them, hearing all their sweet little voices saying them, so it was good. So that concludes our representation. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to have them share the song that they have been learning with Miss Shira.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi. Hi, Mom and Dad. Hi. Hi, Rabbi. She got hurt on the nose. Rabbi. Shannon. Hi, Ben. Hi, Mr. Ben. Hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, Esther. Yes, we do. Mom and Dad. Hi, Rabbi. Robot. Is a
Don't do anything yet. All right, it sounded to me like they were just getting warmed up. Want to hear it again? You want to do it again? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to let Katane have a seat so that they can watch the slideshow we have. So we're going to play now the Katan Aleph slideshow of what they did throughout the week. Just give it a few seconds, but we'll play that in a minute here as they find their seats, because I want them to watch.
You guys did awesome. Katane!
Okay. All right, we're ready to go ahead and show the Katan Aleph week slideshow. That was awesome. Looks like they had a lot of fun. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Katan Bet class and bring up our Mora Sarah Beth Mason along with Selena to present what they did throughout the week.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good morning and Shabbat Shalom. As Ms. Rebbetzin said, I am Mora Sarah Beth Mason, and I have my amazing, I didn't have to think about crafts all week. My craft lady, Selena Thomason. Did I say that right? Stevenson. I'm going to rename her. She's got a new nickname. And my helper, my assistant, my other half of my brain, Jessica Rivera. Thank you for all you did this week. And we had some special guests that they weren't officially a part of the team, but they just stayed anyway. I couldn't give them too much work. They just kept coming. Miss Nadia Carmona and Miss Danielle. She couldn't be here today, but she was absolutely an amazing help for the beginning part of the feast. I don't know what I would do without such a team backing me up. All right, so let's keep this short because I know you have other things to listen to. There's some things that Katan Bet wants you to see. So I'm going to try to keep myself short. All right, so our first craft that we worked on was a treasure box. And we had 11 words. With those 11 words are inside gems. We colored those gems. The words are wisdom, discipline, understanding, righteousness, right ruling, straightness, insight, knowledge, discretion, learning, and wise counsel. And all those words are found in Proverbs 1 through 6. The Proverbs of Shlomo, son of David, sovereign of Israel, for knowing wisdom and discipline, for understanding the words of understanding, for receiving the discipline of wisdom, righteousness, right ruling, and straightness, for giving insight to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. The wise one hears and increases learning, and the understanding one gets wise counsel, for understanding a proverb and a figure, the words of the wise and their riddles. And, thinking of a game to go with this theme and help drive home the lesson, well, what better than a treasure hunt? So they got to search for gems all over the classroom, and we made it a little hard because the winner wasn't the one who got the most gems. It was the one who got the color, the right color, and whoever had the most of that color, and they didn't know which color it was ahead of time. So they had a lot of fun with that. One of my favorite things about this class, seeing it develop and seeing the kids mature and grow, was how they work together like a family. So during the game, several of the children dropped their gems. I mean, they've got their jackets, their pockets full. They're trying to gather as many as they can. And somebody dropped them. Gameplay froze. Everybody ran and helped the student that dropped their stuff. Didn't try to steal them, just tried to help them get theirs back into wherever they were trying to hold them in. I was unprompted. That was just them. I was so proud of them. So we had a lot of discussion. I was so proud of how much we got to talk as a class about real life stuff. One of the children asked, what if, in all these choices, doing wise or foolish things, what if your friend asks you to do something that's wrong? Because peer pressure, you might lose that friend. And I said, you're right, you might lose them. Following Torah is going to cost you something. but it's going to be worth. Look at all the treasure you're going to get. Look at everything that Yahweh gave Shlomo. Look at everything you get from doing things the right way. It will be worth everything you lose. And they really connected with that as a class and were able to go back and forth and understand that concept. And you could see in their eyes, they're like, okay, I'll have to pay that price. Okay. It was just so beautiful to see the maturity that they were growing into. So for our next craft, we did a boy and a girl. They got to do their face and make a wreath for the girls and a crown for the boys. The verses that we were focusing on for this one were Proverbs 1, 8 through 9, which says, "My son, heed the discipline of your father, and do not forsake the Torah of your mother, for they are a fair wreath on your head and chains about your neck." Again, in Proverbs 6:21, "Bind them on your heart always, tie them around your neck." Proverbs 4, 5a and 9, "Get wisdom, get understanding. She gives your head a fair wreath. She shields you with an adorning crown." And then Proverbs 3:3, "Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart." And they were actually disappointed because I didn't let them have enough time to color. They were like, they wanted to decorate everything so nice. And I'm like, you want to play a game too, so let's hurry it up. So they really, really enjoyed these crafts. They were like, no, I'm not done yet. So if you get home and their craft isn't completely finished, please let them finish it. They want to finish it. All right, and then our game, since so much of what we talked about was about listening, heed, give ear. We played a listening game, which wasn't as much fun for the person playing as the ones watching. Because, it was like, do 5 jumping jacks, and after you see someone do 5 jumping jacks, you recite the alphabet. And they had to listen for the order they had to play the game in. And there was one very memorable student who her jumping jacks were very, very interesting, and every single one of us in class was roaring. So everybody but the person currently playing was having fun. And then, talking about King Shlomo and what he asked for and what Yahweh gave him, I asked the students, what would you have asked for? If Yahweh asked you what you wanted, what would you have asked for? Judah's response, without hesitation, the kingdom. I love watching the maturity in this class from year to year grow. All right, so our next craft, our little pretty feet. And the verses for that one, Proverbs 4, 26 and 27. "Consider the path of your feet, and all your ways are established. Do not turn to the right or the left. Turn your foot away from evil." And Proverbs 1:15, "My son, do not walk in the way with them. Keep your feet from their path, for their feet run to evil, and they hurry to shed blood." All right, and game we got to play, we learned a lot of Hebrew words. And we created, we've done it before in Katane, where they had to stack like 7 cups in the right order, like with the 7 things Yahweh hates, or the 6 things Yahweh hates, the 7 is an abomination. And Katane did good with that. But Katane B is older, they're bigger, and they're capable of so much more. So we made it a little harder. They had 8 Hebrew words, and their 8 counterpart English words, and then 8 descriptions that went with each word. And I was so proud, we actually found something that they had to work at. So the fastest times, and the only ones that actually got everything right, there were several that got very, very close, but the only ones that got everything perfect were Nella, with the fastest time of 2 minutes and 10 seconds, all 24 cups. Azalea at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Christopher, 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And Eden at 4 minutes and 27 seconds. That must have taken discipline. And the Hebrew for discipline is Very good. Musar. They're paying attention. Yes. All right. We had, again, as everybody keeps saying through the feast, the one that volunteers is the one that learns the most. You benefit the most from whenever you volunteer. So during the lesson, somebody brought up a question. It was like, what is the peaceable fruit? And I wasn't quite sure. I kind of gave a sort of answer, but I wasn't quite sure of it. And I think it was Yahweh sent Rebbetzin through the door at that exact moment. And I said, Rebbetzin, let me bump this up the chain. And Rebbetzin got to come and give them her answer. And I got to learn something that then Rabbi taught about that afternoon. And I went back and listened, and I heard something, and I was able to connect. It was beautiful. Anyway. But it being like the complete, going back to the word shalom, and being the completeness of the fruit of righteousness. And Caleb's response, how he internalized that was, so not half a pizza, a whole pizza? Hey, he understood. Okay, so for our next craft, we did a heart. I was very proud. I quizzed the kids. Why are we doing a heart? Like, what's Rebetzin's, why is she thinking about a heart? And he said, because you're supposed to, I think it's in my next verse, Proverbs 3:3. Do not let kindness forsake you. Bind them around your neck and write them on the tablet of your heart. So good job, Ethan. You were paying attention. And you'll see 2 more verses are on that craft. It's Proverbs 2:6. For Yahweh gives wisdom. Out of his mouth come knowledge and understanding. And Proverbs 2:10. For wisdom would enter your heart, and knowledge would be pleasant to your being. And again, we played a game, the Battle of the Hebrew Words, we called it. They got to do kind of like a Jeopardy game show, figure out who knew the Hebrew words and different teams. Which team won? What table won? Team 2 won. And they all got prizes, and you should know who was your child because they came home with bags of chips. One thing that I really found beautiful in that game was one of the bonus questions was really hard because it wasn't just one answer. It was multiple answers were the full answer. And somebody turned to Azalea and said, is there a teaching about this? Because Azalea's always saying, mentioning any question I have, anything I'm talking about, Azalea's going, oh, well, there's a teaching. Rabbi taught about that. Rabbi in this teaching and that teaching. So the class knew, Azalea, is there a teaching about this? Which ties into our last craft, but I'll wait and not spoil that one. All right. Next craft was path. Path. All right, so the path was next. And the verse that goes with that is Proverbs 4:18-19. But the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn that shines ever brighter into the perfect day. The way of the wrong is like darkness. They do not know at what they stumble. And for our game, we made a maze. And I was so thankful for the Neils. I told them my vision, and they made it happen beautifully. And yes, thank you. You rocked that game. And unintended, they were supposed to make it through the maze. They have to listen for instruction. So it was a team effort. One child talked while the other one was blindfolded and had to make their way through the maze. Well, the unintended lesson that they were able to internalize was how hard it is to tell someone what to do. How hard leadership is to be able to communicate in an effective way what someone needs to know, when they need to know it, and in the right way. So they had a whole new appreciation for Rabbi, because I was like, oh, you found it hard with one person. Rabbi's doing 400. And they're like, I'm good right where I am. So that was really, really powerful. All right. Now, our ant. Proverbs 6:6, go to the ant, you lazy one. See her ways and be wise. I love that guy. It might have something to do with I got to put him together, but And then Proverbs 10:5, he who gathers in summer is a wise son. He who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame. And the children were able to really connect with this because many children had examples of either a fellow student in their schools or themselves with their chores, how postponing what you're supposed to do makes it 10 times worse. So I was really proud of how they were able to connect that to their own lives. And we played a game where they got to put a name on their back, like a Who Am I game, of characters from the scriptures, foolish, wise, lazy, or hardworking. And there were some of those characters, the children got to learn for the first time who they were. There's some of the helpers didn't know who they were. So we all had education and fun at the same time. All right, last, but definitely my favorite, because they let me play with this one too. I got to make one. Proverbs 22, 1a. A good name is preferable to great riches. We got to use glitter glue. Selena wanted to use puffy paint, but I'm scared of puffy paint in children, so I said no. They probably could handle it. I'm not sure I could. All right. And we got to talk about reputation. We got to talk about names. Some of the children in the classroom knew what their names meant. I think Judah was my favorite because he piped up, or I told him his name had to do with praise. So he said, "Oh, I'm going to get praise?" I said, "If your deeds are worthy of it." And he said, "That's why I asked for wisdom and understanding." And wisdom is? Chokhmah. And understanding is? What? Bina. Okay, there was a little bit of confusion over there. All right. And for that one, we played probably their favorite game, the balloon game. Did you like that game? Yeah! They had kind of like musical chairs. Well, the music was playing. They had to keep the balloon up. Music stopped. They had to be holding their balloon. Don't let your name touch the floor, because their name was written on the balloon. They had to protect their name. I think it was also the parent helper's favorite game. It was definitely Miss Jessica's favorite game. Because it was too easy just to bounce their little balloon. They needed a little bit of adversity. And Miss Jessica was all they could handle. All right. So, enough of me. I think the students have something they would like to share with you.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? So next we're going to show you the Katan Bet slide. But first I want to thank all the parents who raised such wonderful children. They've just really been a pleasure this week. And just keep doing what you're doing. And we hope to see you next feast. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and play the Katan Bet slideshow. I was enjoying the video so much I almost forgot to come up. Okay, so this feast we did the Gadol classes a little bit differently, and Rabbi Steve took over that, so I'm going to turn over the mic to him, and he'll present the Gadol presentation.
All right. I can't wait to get to my remarks later because I want to tell everybody how great you did and all the other stuff. So today, this feast, I had a tremendous opportunity. Let's get the Gadol kids to come on up, and we'll just get you. You can stand over here, or on the risers, away from the risers, doesn't matter. We just want to get you Gadol kids up here. All right. So I have a heart. I have a heart. That may be a surprise to all of you. Sometimes I crack myself up. Okay, so I have a heart for the teenagers, okay? And I recognize, and I told them this in the very first class, that they are very weird. Not weird individually, but just being a teenager is weird, okay? And it's a strange place to be. You can sit, you can stand, just kind of come over here for right now. And they're not children anymore. Okay, they're 13 to 18 here, and yet they're also not adults. And so I also recognize, and we all need to recognize this. I know it's not what we want to recognize. We have to recognize that a lot of them have not yet had that personal bubble popping moment yet. And so I wanted to give them something that they're not getting anywhere else, which is I wanted to give them some life prepping type things that help them prepare for life in a class. And so we had 6 classes. We had a little bit less classes than the Katan A and B, okay? Now for those of you who are wondering about these words, Katan in Hebrew means small, and Gadol means large or big, okay? So this is the older children. All right, now, so as we went through this program, I wanted to give them some of the things that I thought would help them with preparing for life. So first, I thought that I'd give them what the adults got, which was the color code test, so that they would be able to understand themselves a little better, to help also understand other people better, which I've done with you as adults in the past, okay? Then I gave them a book, and the book was called Success Principles for Teens by Jack Canfield, and I wanted them to get the beginning ideas of what success is all about, what principles will help you to be successful, and self-educating, that you need to be self-educating your whole life. There's things that you're going to need to know and understand that you're going to have to teach yourself. You're going to have to go out there and find sources to teach yourself. So I gave them each a copy of the book. So we had one of the classes, our second class, we actually read through some of the book to get a sense of what was in there. Then on the third class, we dealt with finances. I want them to understand money, banking, debt, credit, and those kind of things. And then Elder Billy came in and shared some time creating a budget, helping them to at least have the beginning thoughts of what do we like to create a budget. Then we had a teaching class on, or at least an interactive discussion class on relationships. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We talked about family relationships, friend relationships. We talked about relationships with people in the congregation, in the community. We also talked about dating, to some degree, and marriage, and what that should look like appropriately. And then in our fifth class, we talked about jobs, work, career, and that there's a difference between a job and a career. And we talked about these things to help them to really start thinking about what it is they like to do, what they don't like to do, what they're good at, what they might want to, because a lot of them had some idea of what they might want to do. A lot of them didn't, and it's not surprising at this point that they may not know what they want to do. As a matter of fact, probably a lot of you are doing things right now that you didn't imagine you were doing at all when you were a teenager. It's just, life does have things that help us to adjust and move on, and next thing you know, you're in a place you never expected to be, and it can be a really good place. And then our last class, which was on the Holy Day yesterday, we wanted to then bring that back into a scriptural focus, and we did life lessons from Proverbs. After all, the Katan A classes were dealing with Proverbs. And so what we had everybody sitting 6 at a table, and we had 7 tables full of children or teenagers. Weird. teenagers. Okay, so we had 7 tables with them, and we had them each table take 4 chapters. There's 31 chapters in Proverbs. We got 28 of them covered. And start to read as a table through those chapters and pull out verses that they felt were about life and preparing for life, things that was life advice. Because I think we all would agree that Proverbs is one of the greatest sources of wisdom. Okay, so certainly that was it. All right, so I had a tremendous team helping me. Okay, so Elder Billy came and taught, because I had to kind of go between classes. I did the class and I had to come out here and do the Midrash, so whenever we would switch. So thank you to Elder Billy Jackson, he did a great job. And I had several other assistants, and they'll all tell you that I didn't really let them do much, but I was glad to have them there. Okay, I had Shane Bidwell, I had Wayne Brown, I had Shamish Gary Flint, Grayson Gardner, Michael Long, Philip Mason, and of course Elder Billy. So really appreciate you guys. You did a great job helping out with the teenagers. All right, can I have, is that HH? All right, so what I want to do, and this is actually a really good thing for you teenagers, okay? Sometimes as an adult, you need to just do things from the seat of your pants or on the fly without preparation. And if you become the rabbi, you may do that all the time. As I told my wife how many hours I spent working on my speech today. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them, any of them, if they want to come up, as I mention each class, and just let you know if they got anything out of it, what they may have gotten out of it. And it could be something that's like 2 seconds, it could be something a little longer, whatever they want to say. Because I like to hear from them and let you hear from them if they got anything out of these classes. So who would like the first class was the color code. Did anybody want, I think when we talked about this before, nobody wanted to do that. Brianna, did you want to talk about that a little bit? Come on up.
All right, so with the color code, we all took the test, and we watched the videos from the creator of the color code, and he was explaining how each color, like their pros and their negatives, like things, their strengths versus their weaknesses, and it was funny watching how everybody could relate to each color's weaknesses and strengths, and I feel like it could help everyone understand each other a little bit better, and it was nice seeing how everyone interacted with each color.
Amen. Okay, thank you. All right. So our second class was the Success Principles book. Who wanted to come up and say something about the Success Principles book? Okay, Sienna, you come up first. And you can stand right up front there.
I learned that even when we graduate school and stuff and we're an adult, that we should still never stop learning and self-educate as much as we can.
All right, thank you. Awesome. Anybody else for the book? Okay, Katie, come on down. There you go. See, that's what teenagers can do, but not all adults can do. Jump down from a top riser. Okay. All right. Put the mic right up by your mouth.
Okay. We learned about how you should stop blaming others during arguments and stuff, that you should also think of what you did in the argument. I really used that a couple days ago when I did something.
And did it help?
Yes, it helped a lot.
Okay, great.
It was an argument with my mom, and I actually took responsibility for something that I did, and
Good.
I'm really glad that we went over that, because it really helped with my relationship with my mom and about me feeling good about myself.
Awesome. Thank you. Awesome. Now, the book has a lot in it. We only got to read a few parts of like 1 or 2 chapters, but the main initial point, which Katie kind of touched on, which is in being successful, you need to take responsibility for everything that's going on around you, that you do, that's happening. You need to take 100% responsibility for your life. And so, obviously, she got a little bit of that right out of there, and it is already starting to help. Awesome. All right, anybody else for the success principles? Okay, the next class was on finance, budget creation. Who wants to talk about that? Okay, whoever's on the end with their hand up over there. I can't see from here, that's why. Oh, Danny, okay, good. The other teenagers blocking you. Okay, Danny, go ahead and tell them.
During the finance classes,
Put it right up by your mouth.
it just helped me with some of the questions I've had about financing that I've never really learned anywhere else. And everything that you taught us, we would never get anywhere else besides from maybe our parents.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Danny. Who else had their hand up for the, okay, in the back? Okay, Katie already, you can come down quickly, and then Brianna. Well, go ahead, you can come down again, jump. Brianna, you go first while she's jumping.
I really enjoyed Elder Billy's class. It was very, very informative. So I have points because sometimes I blank when I'm talking. So we talked about our monthly expenses, and it was interesting to see how many of them that we don't even think about that we spend on. And without proper money management, you could get into some serious debt, and you won't have an enjoyable life if you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, or you don't have extra money to spend on things like an emergency fund or other things that could happen and come up in your life. And the amount of money that you have, because he talked a lot about how he had rich people that he would talk to and ask for money help, because it was interesting to me that even though they had tons of money, they had no idea how to handle it, and they always ended up in a very bad in-debt situation. So the amount of money you have doesn't affect how you should handle your money, because the skills are work for everybody, no matter where you are in your life. So that's what I really took out of it.
Awesome, thank you. So we helped them to understand that you could be broke at any income. That's another way to say it. You can make as much money and still be broke. Because it's not just about how much you make, it's also about what you do to handle how much you spend. All right, Katie?
This was another thing that I feel like I really needed to learn this, because I'm looking forward to moving here and being part of the community more. And with that, we also talked about tithing and how much that would be out of your income and how much you would need to make to live here. And I believe it was you that said you have to make at least your age and income.
Per hour, yep.
Per hour. And I found this all really informational, and I will be able to use it later on when I move here.
Awesome, thank you. So, and that's one of the reasons why I like them coming up, because it then helps trigger for me some things I can share with you. So we did talk about some things that they probably wouldn't learn about. Like we talked about taxes, which was a very interesting part of the conversation, because they had to realize that that's something that's going to come out of your check, and also tithing. And so we didn't tell them they had to make their age, but we recommended that to be reasonably have a reasonable chance of being successful financially, if you're making your age per hour, you have a pretty good shot at that. In other words, if you're 20 years old making $20 an hour, that's not probably too bad. That's $40,000 a year. And by the time you're now married, maybe with children, and maybe you're 35, making $70,000 a year would really be enough to take care of that in a comfortable way, because $35 an hour. Okay, so, and in case you're wondering, the math is very simple. Whatever you make per hour, double it, and that's kind of your annual income, right? So $10 an hour is $20,000 a year. Okay, thank you. Who else anybody else for finances and budgeting? All right, so the next class was on relationships. Did anybody want to come up and talk about that? Stephen.
All right, I feel kind of out of place, because for everybody else's, they got a lot of personal use out of it. But for this class, we mostly went over our experiences rather than things to be applied, even specifically in my life. But we went over, 5 types of relationships. We went over the relationship you have with your family. We went over the relationship you have with your friends, the relationship you have with your community, the relationship you have with your congregation, and more romantic sorts of relationships. We discuss the appropriate context for different types of affection in each one of them, the responsibilities, expectations, and boundaries associated with each type of them. And we went over general guidelines for how to be successful in those types of relationships.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. Excellent. Anybody else for the relationship class? Okay, good. So the next class was on work, job, and career. And we talked about everybody, Yahweh created us to work. If you can, he created us to work. And then we talked about there's two different types of work generally. There's job work and there's career work, and they're different. Okay, who wants to talk about work, job, and careers? Okay, Olivia?
So I'm talking about jobs and careers. The difference between jobs and careers, jobs are more like temporary and they're to like pursue a means of like just money. But careers should be like long-term and fulfilling and give you like a sense of purpose just because that's like important, like emotionally and psychologically. So the main thing that I took away from the career class is you need to determine what you like, and if that pays enough for you to live off of, then you should pursue that. But also, if what you want to pursue doesn't give you enough money to live off of, then you can do that as like a side thing, or you should have multiple streams of income. And that was very informative because I never thought of that, like having multiple jobs or anything. So it just gave me like a target of what I need to do like career-wise. So it was really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. So anybody else for jobs and careers? Okay, over there. All right, Danny?
This class helped me figure out why I wanted to do what I want to do.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right. And I really like Danny's point, which is people at any age really sometimes need help figuring out what it is you want to do and how to go about it. And so if we were able to help in some way, then that was fantastic. So we did talk about jobs being something you do because you need money to pay for things. So at the very least, because a career is a type of job, it's a specified type of job. But jobs are to make money to pay bills. So you don't have to like the job as long as it pays the money that you pay your bills with, as long as you can make enough. But a career is something, as Olivia pointed out, that is more self-actualizing, more fulfilling, where it's helping bring more meaning and purpose to your life. You enjoy it, you feel like you're making a difference, that kind of thing, okay? Excellent. Careers, which one tends to pay more, jobs or careers? Careers, okay, excellent. All right, then our last class was the life lessons from the Proverbs. All right, who wants to go for that? Okay, come on up. Okay, Valentina.
Okay, so for our last class, Rabbi told us to find good life lessons in Proverbs, and here are the best ones. So
well, the best ones in the chapters you did.
Yeah, so the best ones from chapter 13 to 16. So Proverbs 13:1. A wise son accepts his father's discipline, but a scoffer shall not listen to rebuke. Proverbs 15:3. The eyes of Yahweh are in every place, watching the evil and the good. Proverbs 15:22. Without counsel, plans go wrong, but by great counselors they are established, which is helpful because Rabbi does give really good counseling.
Thank you.
Proverbs 16:8. Better is a little with righteousness than a large income without right ruling. So this one says, like, whatever you do in life, do it like in a good and honorable way.
Amen. Fantastic. And I have to say that I have appreciated that in the last few months, especially since we started this program, I am getting to counsel more of the teenagers and help them with some of the things they're going through. So that's fantastic. All right, because one of the life skills that's important is as you come into the adult part of your life is to have those people you go to for counsel. So that's fantastic. Okay, who else had their hand up? Maria? Okay.
So our group
You got to put it right up at your mouth.
Okay. Our group did chapters 9 through 12, and what we got out of it was about counseling, and like the wise one will take the advice and use it and grow with it, and the foolish one will reject the advice and will go their own way and suffer. So
Awesome, fantastic. And I already took the mic away. So having read that, you would be now more likely to take advice. Is that correct? See, that's the whole point, is that they're seeing something in Proverbs and thinking, you know what? Maybe I need to actually apply this. And that's the cool part of this. All right, anybody else for Proverbs? All right, give them a hand. They did a fantastic job. All right, you guys can go ahead and exit down the staircase. That way or this way. You can go ahead and work your way down as Rebbetzin comes back up here. Okay, so what's coming up next is the Gadol Aleph and Bet slideshow. So we'll just give them a minute for them to all get to their seats. So again, I was very proud of these students. They were really great and fantastic. They are going to be, they're going to transition out of this weird teenager place to become really excellent adults. And I'm really proud of them and excited about them, okay? Fantastic. All right. Now, from the feedback that I got, they seem to be interested in giving me a second shot next feast. So, okay? And so we'll have more life things and life prep and life development things that I can give you next feast. So I'm looking forward to it. I've already got some ideas of what we're going to do. Because after all, this being the first one that I did, I came to realize time is shorter than I thought. We got a lot done, but boy, there was so much more I wanted to do. But only with 6 classes, it's a little bit tough. But they got the most out of it. They did great. And children, teenagers, I want to encourage you. Take those books I gave you, read them, okay, and then get excited about going and reading other ones, because there was a lot of people quoted in that book. Maybe look them up and find out what else they wrote. What other programs they have, so you can continue this self-education. Amen? Amen. All right. Let's go to the video presentation.
Okay, so that concludes our class slide video presentations. And we do have one more slideshow to show you, and this is called the Together Time, and I hope you enjoy it, so we're ready to cue that.
All right, fantastic job by everyone. You know, I think all of the people that put all of this hard work together, you should even stand up and let's give them an ovation. I think that was fantastic. All right, children, let's stand up for your teachers and everybody who provided you with this great program. All right, sit down. Okay, I'm just going to say a couple of words here, which you know means might go an hour. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I believe that children are our future. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I believe, I just couldn't help that one. I believe the children are our future. I think the children are very important, and I'm so proud of the effort we put in here, especially in the YMTOI, you know, whole presentation and all the programs that they put together. So I just need to really thank my wife, Rebbetzin Julie, for being the director of this program and how much she cares about and loves the children. I think it's incredibly vital. There are organizations that will keep your children occupied so that you can do what you need to do. We don't keep them occupied. We educate them. It's entertaining how we do it, but we educate them. And we get them to engage with the Word, and we give them opportunity to really interact in safe ways with each other. And so, I just really want to praise the program that we have and all the people that make it possible, the artists, the craft designers, the snack designers, my wife for writing all of the material for the programming. I mean, the artwork, everything is just so incredible. The music, Mashira, the songs are always so engaging. You know what, I always love, and you can't necessarily hear this on the live stream, but when the video is playing, which is the songs that children had just sung without the words, they're singing still. Especially the Katan A. That's just great, because I hear them over there singing, and then, of course, Katan B did as well. Gadol, you guys sang great, by the way. No, we didn't have a song. Okay. But I really was proud of you guys, unscripted, really, to come up and to say a few words about each of the classes. And so I really appreciate that very much. All right? So as we wrap this up, I would like all of you to always keep our children and our teenagers in your prayers, that Abba would continue to keep them safe and inspire them, and at some point pop their bubbles. Because as we hopefully understand, just because you raise them a certain way doesn't mean that that automatically pops their bubble, okay? They all have to go like you did through the experience of that personal revelation that comes from above. And so we pray for those things while we enjoy them, while we encourage them, while we support them as best we can. So we love the children, we love the teenagers, and we're just so excited that we're able to be of help in some small way, all right? If you are on the live stream and you just found us, we do have a program, the Parsha Pearls program, for the young Messianic Torah Observant Israelites, YMTOI. And that program, I will be talking about it during the announcements, as always, during our service this afternoon. But just if you just found us, maybe you, because this is going to be posted. By the way, all of you that were trying to film and everything, this is going to be posted on YouTube, so you'll always have access to it. As a matter of fact, it's funny, I find my wife from time to time going back and looking at old ones and enjoying the songs and the presentations and that kind of thing. We do have this Parsha Pearls program, and it's the Torah portion cycle, the one-year cycle going from Genesis to Deuteronomy. And it's all about helping our youth engage with the Word like we did this week. And although this week was just focused on Proverbs, and another time it may be focused on the 6 things Yahweh hates from Proverbs, or it may be focused on the Beatitudes, or it might be focused on the fruit of the Spirit. We have lots of different programs we've done with the children, the 7 species. What else? Psalms, parables. I did the Beatitudes. Okay, so that's a lot of different. So we have enough that if your child, the goal we have is that if your child is in a group, okay, say they're in Katan A, that by the time they graduate, okay, the cycle will only start again once, so they will only go through the same program once during their journey through any one group. Okay, we have 6 years worth of materials. So it's plenty of materials, okay? 12 themes, so it's 2 a year, okay? Two of the different feasts. Okay, this is just a fantastic thing, I think. I mean, when I say that, I mean like, man, I wish I had this when I was their age, you know? Don't you? It's such a fantastic thing. Let me ask the children. Katane, did you guys have a good time this week? That was loud enough, I think everybody could hear that. How about Katan B? You guys have a good time this week? I'm a little nervous about the next one. Gadol, did you guys have a good time this week? Yeah, all right. And that's the thing that's most meaningful for my wife and I is that they had a great time while learning something. Okay, we didn't just entertain them, and they really learned a lot. Okay? And I really appreciate that we are given that opportunity. So thank you for allowing us the opportunity to spend time helping to grow and to instruct your children. Okay, we really take that seriously, and we really appreciate the opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to close with a blessing, a blessing related to, obviously, the Children and Youth Program. And after that, well, we're going to have the Katan A and B children stay where you are and let your parents come and pick you up. Okay, parents, you can go and get your children, and lunch is going to start pretty much like right after that. It's 12:20 now, so we got about 9 or 10 minutes before that. So after I pray, everybody will be dismissed, but the Katan A and B, wait for your parents to come and pick you up. Okay, fantastic. Let's go before the Father in prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father. And this is like a parenting prayer. So looking at you, specifically as Father, I think is appropriate. So Father, we come before you. And we, especially as a family, as a mishpacha, as parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, adults who just love the other children, we ask that you would help us to be that light, that example that these children will see, so that they can know when you pop their bubble what it looks like to do the things of you, your things. Okay, that's what we do down here in the below. We do your stuff from the above down here in the below. And Father, bless these children. Keep them safe. Help them to have a knowledge, a knowing that you exist and that you care and that you're there for them at all times, so that they one day can grow to be also lights to the world. They can be strong men and women of Israel and shine that light that shines on you, that they are pointing people to see you in them. So, Father, we thank you for the opportunity. We ask the blessings upon them. In the name above all names, Yeshua our Messiah. Amen. 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 Wait, hold on. I forgot something. What? Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgot to thank, and this is important, all the people that spent the time putting the audiovisual presentation together. All right? Okay, we had people working for hours on taking pictures and sorting pictures and making videos, and these guys working on the cameras and the sound and the microphones and, you know, all of the things that went into the video and audio presentation. We want to thank everybody for that, okay? All right, awesome. Did I forget anything else? All right, so with that, you are dismissed. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you back here in 2 hours for our Sabbath service.